Yeah, against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Oh, I'm on mute. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Twitch gang, appreciative to you lot locked in. If you're on YouTube, in fact, if you're on both, please make sure you're smashing the like button, you're following on all the socials, you're following on both platforms, and you've turned on your notifications, people. It's a big week of football. Appreciative to everyone that was at my watch-alongs across the weekend where we watched Manchester City Villa, obviously Arsenal Brentford. Yesterday, we watched Liverpool against Everton, where Liverpool got their first win of 2023. And in typical Everton fashion, you know, two different teams. The one that obviously hosted us at Goodison Park to the one that travelled to Anfield. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe Mikel Arteta's got a soft spot for Everton. But anyways, you know, it is what it is. Today, we are watching Paris Saint-Germain Bayern Munich. Turn on your notifications live from 7:50. Tomorrow, live from 6:30. It's the big one. It's Arsenal, Manchester City. Thursday, we're watching Manchester United, Barcelona. All of them will be across YouTube and Twitch. And obviously at the weekend, Arsenal, Aston Villa. And I believe Sunday is Tottenham versus West Ham. So we'll watch that together. Any talking points, questions, feel no sort of way about getting them in. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen the preview I've done for the Manchester City game with Tom Young. Go and check that out and check out the rest of my other videos and playlists and those things. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Hope you're having a great start to the week. Hope you and your loved ones are in good health. Throughout the course of this video, we'll see what the tabloids are saying in relation to Arsenal City. We'll obviously offer mine and your thoughts, and we'll look at the quote-unquote transfer news, and that will be us today, people, of the first of two streams, because again, we're watching Paris Saint-Germain Bayern Munich, people. Yo, DJ, everything good? Ahmed, everything's blessed, man. I hope you and your loved ones are doing well and safe. Josh, I saw you somewhere there as well. Appreciative for you getting the first comment. Big up the Nightbot for the shameless promotion as well, people. So yeah, why waste any more time? Let me set a timestamp as well, just because it makes it better viewing for those catching it on the rerun. Now, I'll be brutally honest. I want 3 points. I want 3 points against Man City. Is it near enough impossible? Is it a difficult task? Of course, but nothing in life comes easy. End of the day, both teams you could say are wounded animals for completely different reasons. Man City or Man City. Obviously, Arsenal have been flying high this season. Question marks have been asked consistently of Pep Guardiola and his players. Their hunger has been questioned, etc., etc. We've all seen what's been said in relation to, you know, potential sanctions. So they're probably trying to do a siege mentality. Arsenal have now gone from being an anomaly of this season, you know, kind of nobody expected it, to kind of now that pressure is on. Can you get it? Can you see it through to the end? Can you keep your bottle? Not just in terms of winning games, but how you react to dropping points. And you know, the last 3 games, you know, haven't been kind to us in all comps. We did lose to Manchester City in the FA Cup, similar to the Premier League game last year. I think there's a lot of positives. I feel we did go toe to toe. Like if we look at the FA Cup game, I think we showed at the end of the day, Holding kept Haaland quiet in it. Haaland didn't score. The game wasn't lost, but before Holding came off, obviously Holding looked like he was stressed, but I think we went toe to toe. Sorry, we went man to man. We marked well. We won our individual battles. We didn't give them much space. Fundamentally, we switched off for a moment down our right hand side, their left. Ake scored her out the FA Cup, and fundamentally we lost. well. Saka scored. Obviously, the ref gave a soft penalty, but again, I'd say game management. We played into City's hands. Of course, Bernardo Silva's going to dive, and we switched off in the last moment with Rodri. Now, Rodri's someone we're going to have to get lock on the key. We're going to have to hit back. Obviously, there's still a season to salvage. I do think this game is make or break for both teams, but at the same time, I don't necessarily actually think that, because it's a marathon and not necessarily a sprint, people. For us, ideally, we take 4 to 6 points, specifically 6. This shoddy run against Man City has to end, and why not now in it where we've been better against top teams home and away? You know, one of our best away performances was actually Chelsea. Even the Man United game, we got done dirty by VAR. They were the better team because we played silly mistakes, but there was positives to take from that. We've obviously beaten Liverpool. We've done the double against Spurs. We've beaten Man United at our place. Yes, we're not, game management, the goals we're conceding, managing periods of the game. These are problems that even when we've been winning games have been an issue. And, we've conceded 3 times now from dead ball scenarios, specifically headers. Last game against Brentford, we took the lead after around the hour mark. We did not hold on to our lead long because Brentford scored in the 74th, 75th minute. You can't afford to do things like that if you want to get Champions League football and aspire beyond that of whatever you can achieve this season. So it has to end. It has to end. And for me, man, as I said, people, City are a great team. They play very fluid systems. You've seen them play a 4-4-2, a 3-2-4-1, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. And regardless of the formation, their system is quite fluid. It looks like a back 3. It looks like a back 1 at times. Ake, Akanji, their attackers are very fluid. We all know Rodri is key to their system. And Rodri is actually someone that had a part to play in us losing this game last season. We're going to have to lock him down. You've got Bernardo Silva there. You've got Kevin. You've got Haaland, whether he's fit or not. They've got Julian Alvarez. There's a wealth of quality, people. And again, I want us to be fearless, because if you lose, obviously it's now the 3rd Premier League game where questions are going to be asked about Arsenal. But on the other hand, we lose to City week in, week out, really and truly. So be fearless. What's the worst that can happen? Familiar territory. So I really want us to have a goal. I really want us to have self-belief. They bleed just like us. As great as they are, they're not superhuman. And this is probably the best season to try and take points off City. If you respect them, respect the marking that you need to do, give them the healthy respect of the quality the team has. Other than that, ask questions. Edison has a mistake in him. The defense can be got at the transition. We have been in good form in terms of scoring goals. Ask questions. As I said, they bleed just like us. They're human just like us. So believe in ourselves. Be fearless. Behave like this is the last Premier League game, or better yet, football game of you lot's careers. Behave like this is the last day in you lot's lives, really and truly. Exaggeration, of course, but this is the mentality we have. I don't want to see our heads drop. Whether we concede, probably not going to keep a clean sheet against City. Don't let your heads drop, really. Just react. And again, this losing run or this negative run in relation to 3 games where everybody's drawn conclusions on Arsenal has to stop. Win your 1v1 battles, win your collective battles, be better at set pieces, again, because we've conceded 3 goals from set pieces in recent games. What was the first goal that City scored early against Aston Villa when Mahrez put in the corner? You switch off, we're in problems, really, and naturally they're going to get at that. I do think it's going to be a different game, because I don't think City are going to play like Brentford and Everton. I think they're going to try and dominate proceedings and dominate possession. So they're going to be on the ball a lot more, and position, spaces are going to open for the Odegaards. Xhaka, I need a reaction. You've been great this season. Last 2 odd games, you've been quite poor. And if you don't put in a performance against City, I don't think you necessarily should be dropped for Aston Villa. But in terms of equality and keeping it fair, if you're playing well, you keep your spot. Maybe Jorginho comes in for you. Maybe Zinchenko goes into midfield and Tomiyasu goes left back, or even Kieran Tierney, because I need a performance from Xhaka. When Xhaka, Zinchenko and Odegaard specifically are on it, we're on it. If 2 of the 3 are on it, if 1 of the 3 is on it, we're in trouble, people, really and truly, if I'm completely honest. As I said, we know they've got a fluid system, inverted fullbacks, attacking fullbacks, a wealth of quality. Just get at them, really. And I would say the last half an hour of football games, because again, there's been game management. Yes, we beat Manchester United, but similar to Man United, when Rashford scored, we reacted quickly. We conceded very quickly with the Lisandro Martinez goal. Lovely to score the winner at the end, but we need to cut that out. Brentford, we conceded late. Everton, last half an hour of the game. Set pieces, game management, belief. This is all I really want to see from us, really and truly, if I'm completely honest with you guys. What's up, DG? You made that horrible Merseyside watch along worth watching. Your banter on point. CS appreciative. K1 love. Apparently Haaland's back in training. Bro, like, to be honest, they beat us when Haaland went missing. And in the bigger games, now that I've said it, Haaland's probably going to do something. But Haaland's been shut up. I think people are a bit harsh to Haaland. I do think, obviously, you know, if you think he's good enough to add general play to his game and all that tiki-taka jazz, then that's cool. But I do think it's always what a player can't do rather than their principles. Haaland was born to score goals. He's always been a goal scorer. And I don't think his general play is that bad. Is it of the standard of other strikers? Probably not. But I do think you have to judge players on their principles. And it's a bit impossible being a striker. If you look at, to a degree, Eddie and Nketiah and probably Jesus this season, as great as they've been for Arsenal, people are going to be like, oh, have they got the talent to score 20 league goals minimum or score those goals at vital periods for their quality? You know, someone like Haaland will bag week in, week out, but then people will start saying, but he ain't got 20 assists and things like that. And even in the bigger games, I can't actually remember the Man United game, but definitely I'd say Spurs, definitely in the FA Cup in our defeat, and a couple of times when Haaland plays the top six sides, he's under lock and key. But if everybody's focused on Haaland, and definitely a team like City, that's space for other players. City have quality all over the team. They have the capacity to kill us in 2 passes from all over the field, specifically Ederson. Do I think we'll concede? Of course. Do I think we'll be under the cosh? Of course. But believe, make it nervous for them. There's never been a better time for Arsenal to play City. Our form this season has been good. We've made some positive changes. The Emirates is rocking. You know, I don't want to quite say smash the like button, people. It's an even clash, but quote unquote, it is an even clash. Go out there and have a goal, man. It's as simple as that, really. If we lose to the better men, we lose to the better men, really, and whatnot. And even in the FA Cup game, Haaland didn't do nothing. You know, Ake's popped up with a goal, really. How much percentage of the ball you think Arsenal will have this match? Probably 70-30. You know, shout out Marcel. Shout out to your team for getting 3 points yesterday. DG, you know, when Jesus is back, Bob's your uncle, man. You know, Jesus, if you listen to what Jesus is saying or how he says, you know, he seems quite bullish and stuff. Arteta seems to be pouring cold water, and that's one thing I've liked with Arteta and the medical staff. We've taken our time with Partey, with Tomiyasu, and hopefully Jesus. No point rushing man back for, let's assume, City tomorrow, if you're now going to be out for 2-3 weeks, where God knows who we've got. I know we've got Leicester away, saw what they did to Spurs. We've got Villa away, going to be a completely different game for us than the one that you saw City play. And obviously you've got City today. So I'd expect to concede possession. But at the same time, it's what you do with the ball. You know, the last 2 games we've drop points, we've had the majority of possession. We haven't got what we've needed, really and truly. I think we've got to find that balance. I think long gone are the days, definitely against City or a big team, where you're just going to go there, stink out the plays, kind of just play for a draw, see what you can do. I think City are even Tom said it, a City fan, when we did our preview yesterday. Get at them. Ask healthy questions of them. Get at them, really. When Man United beat them, it's because they got at them. If you sit back and respect these players, you're in trouble. We should be looking at these lads like privileged boys. You know, we're very hungry. We ain't won what they've won. We ain't done what they've done. We're not played in, some of these players ain't played in competitions that these guys have played in. You know, for City, it might just be another game. And obviously, Pep Guardiola's in villain mode. He specifically said Arsenal in relation to teams that obviously have been reported and whatnot. I don't know why a second video is playing, but nonetheless it was. So yeah, man, we're just gonna have to get at them, really and truly, if I'm completely honest with you. What is going on here? Sorry, folks, completely off topic. I don't know what's going on with YouTube here. What the hell has happened there? Is what it is in that regards. But yeah, continue bringing in your comments and whatnot, folks, and we'll carry on in a sec. I'm still here, just temporary technical difficulties. Question marks over Xhaka's performances. Would you take the risk and look at other things we can do? Realistically, what other things can we do, bro? I'm not saying you're wrong, but what else can Arsenal do? This is the squad. We haven't really, there's nothing really about us in that regards. What can we do? I do think, you know, Xhaka has had a terrific season and all these things, but he's normally the guy I'm looking for, and he hasn't been, you know, he just simply hasn't done it in the last couple of games, really and truly, and we need him to get back to it. If that doesn't persist, not that I necessarily think Jorginho's a better option than Xhaka, but could you look at playing, you know, our team runs through Zinchenko. He isn't a left back by trade. Well, he's been playing there historically for years. Could it be worth Zinchenko coming in, Tomiyasu playing left back, even in a game like City? I don't think that will happen. I don't think we'll chop and change. I don't think you'll see Martinelli through the middle, Xhaka not there, and Tomiyasu or Tini in place of Zinchenko, because I don't necessarily think it's the right game to be doing all of that. But these are options, you know. Arteta has to be flirting with these things and adding gears to our game, because again, unless you've got Lionel Messi and them kind of players there, you have to be open to showing flexibility. And to be honest, on the transition, we're quite shaky. Tomiyasu is probably our best defender in terms of the asset of defending, and he gives us a lot in the air. I would have loved him against Brentford, if I'm completely honest with you. But that's not how it crumbles. So it is a legitimate talking point. It is a legitimate question to ask, really. I think if anything, people, let me know your thoughts. I'm sure you're taking part in the voting, but I think it's weird because I wish we could play 12 players, because I know Martinelli's form hasn't been amazing, but he's someone, in my opinion, that you kind of have to play in these big games. He's a big game player, Arsenal concerned. But then again, I think Trossard, he did well when he started against City, had a good cameo against Manchester United, obviously scored in the last game that we played against Brentford. And obviously he's experienced, he's got more gears to his game. In a game like City, where there's going to be a lot of space, there's more gears to Trossard's game. He can play the narrow game, he can play and go inside and play neat little 1-2s. He can take his man down the line. He's a bit less predictable than Martinelli, who's a great player and been great for us and will continue to be great for us. Big up to him for signing his new deal in that. But there could be that. I think there's legitimate cases for Benjamin, really and truly, the three players that I'm looking at, if they don't put in performances against City, I assume it's an unchanged lineup. But for me, not that there's much to do, especially away from home. Benjamin White's been good this season, but last few games dropped off. Xhaka dropped off as well. Martinelli dropped off. These are not that there's been any opportunity for bit part players to play, but these are areas where you're wondering, had you have got a centre mid or two in January or the summer, had there have been, had Smith Rowe have been fit, or maybe even Reece Nelson, less so Nelson and more so Smith Rowe, could these guys push for places really? Because on one hand, it has to stop, in the same way when you're winning and there's no reason to change the team of things, when you're dropping differently as well, people. So we'll have to see how it really develops. Don't forget to hit the like button. I think because City need the 3 points more, they could go to attacking, and that will leave space for Arsenal to counter into. Gonna need a captain's performance from Odegaard. Wondergaard, you said it there, man. You think 30% for Arsenal. I think Arsenal nowadays play a lot more possession. It'll probably be a lot more closer, but I don't know for percentages. I just think we'll concede possession naturally. City are a better team on the ball. They're slightly more dominant. But it's what you do with possession that makes all the difference. It probably will be a lot closer, probably 60-40, but who knows? I think there will be stages where both teams have the other team under the caution kind of onto them, but it's what you do with the ball. I've seen Arsenal win games with hardly any possession. I've seen us lose games with dominance on the ball. It's what you do with possession that makes all the difference, really. And if we're honest with ourselves, we need to get back to basics. First thing, and because you mentioned possession has to correlate to winning games. We haven't been efficient and effective in the final third in the last few games. We could have scored against City. We didn't in the FA Cup. We're out. We could have scored more against Brentford if we was, if it was the Arsenal that started the season. We had a bit of a wobble. Obviously, the refs done us a bit dirty. And I feel that, the refs is a problem there. And on the balance of that, we should have won 1-0. But had we have scored 3-4, at best, it's just a talking point about a lack of a clean sheet. Against Everton, across all we weren't at it. Football's a simple game. It's played in the middle of the park. It's decided in both areas. If you don't score more goals than your opponent and you don't keep them at the back of the net, you're not winning, innit? It's a simple game complicated by idiots. And again, it's more of a mentality thing. I hope that this game will be overhyped and things like that, but it's our greatest enemy is ourselves, because we did well against City in the last game last season at the Emirates, but we defeated ourselves. We switched off, gave away a penalty. We switched off at the dying embers of the game, and Rodri scored. Yes, the ref could have done us dirty in that game. Yes, we was good, but it needs to correlate to 3 points. We're approaching the business end of the season now, where there's no time for shenanigans, quite simply, people. Either you win or you lose. Football's a simple game, once again. Appreciate you lot for persisting, people. There's just some technical difficulties here. I don't know what they want me to do about any of this, but I think we're there now and we're over that. So yeah, keep your thoughts coming. Don't forget to subscribe with Amazon Prime. Arsenal just need to be clinical and take their key chances. I don't want to hear no waffling about referees. Trossard has to start. Reckon we can really get at their makeshift fullbacks. I think City can be got at, man. Both teams at their best start fast, so I wouldn't be shocked if there's 5 goals in the first half. I don't know if my heart rate can take that, man. Hopefully not really and truly, if I'm completely honest with you. Again, fine margins in life. If we look at how City have played, I think this is it. If we look at the City team that played us at the Emirates, well, Etihad better yet, sorry, people. 1 sec, because I need my notes on my other screen. Where is it? Google Docs, help me out. If we look at the game at the Emirates, I keep saying the Emirates, Etihad, people, apologies. Where is my notes for that? there you are. When we lost 1-0, you look at it, it was an even game. And to be fair, it probably will be a more even one to go back to possession. We had 46% of the ball to their 54%. They played 492 passes. We played 417. They had 8 shots. We had 5. We had 2 on target. They had 3. Fine margins. They won it. Their left back scored. We had 3 corners. They had none. So it's what you do with the ball. And again, it's going to be a different team, really and truly. City probably had closer to their strongest 11 than ours. And their left back, Ake, scored. But that's all it could be. It doesn't matter if you play well. If you switch off for a second, as Tomiyasu, if I can remember, Tomiyasu, Saka, potentially Lokonga could have done better. Either way, Ake scored, in it, not to just blame players. And Matt Turner had a decent game. But there were positives. I did like how we won our individual battles. I do like how we kept Haaland quiet. I do like how we had indirect chances, but obviously we just didn't have that added quality. Now, we know they went with inverted fullbacks. They went with Rodri. Well, not that they need to play fullbacks, because unofficially in games they've got a 3 at the back. Ake will do left back duties. Grealish will drift inside. You've got Rodri there. You've got Rico Lewis there as well. They've got a fantastic kind of fluid system, just focusing on the middle thirds of the pitch. And we have seen them also play 4-4-2. You've seen 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, many denominations of 3 at the back. And City system is amazing. It's absolutely amazing, regardless of who plays there. So we need to win our battles, but they can be got at. Akanji and Ake have been good this season. Ake was going to leave, and he's been one of their key players. Akanji's been one of the signings of the season. But if I'm cynical, and Stones is injured, Diaz has been struggling with fitness, and he'll probably play. If I'm cynical, could you say they've gone from having a certain caliber of centre-backs to Akanji and Ake? Maybe that's where their issues are. They can be got at. It almost looks like a culture shock when Manchester City have to do some sort of defending people. So we could probably expect it to be a game along the lines of this. Haaland's going to be up there. Grealish is going to have the half space. You're going to have whoever behind him. It could be Kevin De Bruyne, or it could be many a players. Like my notes, if I look at it against Aston Villa, or better yet against Arsenal, you had Gundogan. Let's actually put some names in here. You had Grealish. You had Gundogan. And Gundogan, someone to watch. Again, midfield runners. You had Gundogan. You had obviously KDB. And you had Riyad Mahrez on the right-hand side. People. Mahrez, again, I don't need to tell you about any of these players. They're all problematic. And obviously, again, in real time, there's not going to be this much of a gap. You had Haaland there as well, if you want to put his name in. And obviously, you had Stones and Akanji. And obviously, you've got Rico Lewis, who, plays a bit like a light-skinned Zinchenko, and it cuts into midfield, will go out wide. Obviously, you've got Gundogan making further runs forward and dropping deep. You've got Rodri, who does actually help with progressive passes, but almost that's like a safety net there. Ake will end up being the left back, like we saw, where he obviously went on and scored. Akanji will be in possession. It won't be Stones. It'll probably be Diaz, who's a physical problem. But they've got a lovely system, assuming they went out and played like this, skipping some of the names out as well, people. They've got a fantastic system, really and truly. If you're completely honest with you, it can drift into many. It could be a 3, it could be a 5, it could be a 2 up front. They've got many players. You can't not admire them, innit? But the key is to win our individual battles, which we kind of did in the last game, people. We did win our individual battles. So yeah, if you put Ramsdale in there, of course, I need my centre backs on it. Whether it's Haaland, Julian Alvarez, a fit Haaland, or whatever. I need Saliba and Gabriel. Gabriel, you've been very good last few weeks. If I'm cynical, as much as I like Saliba, his age has probably been highlighted. If I'm Haaland or I'm Man City, that's the avenue to get at. So there needs to be communication. This is why I'm not sure. Do you play Benjamin White? Do you go with Zinchenko? Because in reality, if Arsenal get onto things and we're in possession, Zinchenko, I want to see you there. Odegaard's going to be dropping deep, but primarily you want to see him there. Xhaka normally is in this sort of half space. You've got Bukayo Saka, who wants to play narrow, but because typically in the last few games, Benjamin White hasn't necessarily been overlapping. Our wingers, have been receiving the ball here, people, and we don't need that. I want to see whether it's Martinelli or Trossard, who I hope it is, isolate them 1v1, have young Rico Lewis not just thinking it's a movie. Is he stuck in 2 minds? Do I do my traditional fullback stuff, or do I stay inside? Rodri's only one man. I want to see our wingers isolated against whoever is playing there, because the last few games we haven't. If Saka's receiving it on the halfway line, you don't mind that, because typically if Grealish, who has improved defensively, smash the like button, does so, he's gonna be marked out of the game, really, and that's literally gonna stop us progressing. I want us to be brave in possession. It goes without saying. You know, Zinni, we're going to need you. Odegaard, we're going to need you. Saka, we're going to need you. Eddie and Ketty, you've kind of gone off the boil a bit and looked a bit tired. We're going to need you, really. We need to be brave in possession. If we make a mistake, keep going, really. It's as simple as that. Eddie and Ketty is going to have to drop deep into midfield as well and consistently, because, again, you're not going to, in terms of a battle of numbers, if we just assume it's Diaz or Stones, it's probably Diaz. You're not going to, he's done well against Spurs, his back three, but you're not going to, one man can't beat three guys. So you're going to have to drop deep on occasion, people. So, again, can we win our individual battles? Because if you're City, you're going to take advantage of the space. If in an ideal world, Arsenal are in possession, we have high quality on the ball, and the Thomas Parteys, the Granites, they're all on it. You know, they're all on it for us, and they're going to take advantage of the spaces, people, really and truly. In real time, you probably see Arsenal's build-up play something like this. Again, it's annoying me how not everyone's got their name. Sorry, folks. Gabriel, White. Sometimes White's got the half spaces, but typically, if we've got possession, again, in an ideal world, and we get out of this, Partey has Zinchenko to find. Benjamin should be on his bike. Saka should be on his bike. Odegaard does like to drop deep, but I want him to stay here. I want him to have real. We're going to need him in terms of pressing them, but I want him in behind and in and around their 6-yard box in their area. No coincidence when Saka, Odegaard, and Cole, Benjamin White, they got on the overlap against Brentford for one of the only times we scored a goal. In real time, our build-up play Partey will find Zinchenko. Xhaka stays slightly further forward. Trossard probably be a bit more narrow. Eddie could drop and provide a space for someone to run into. But historically, you're probably going to see that, really. You hope Saka's there. So we need to take advantage. But then again, you can see the gaps. You've got Haaland, where, if I'm honest, sometimes our centre-backs ball watch. There's a lot of space for Mahrez out there. Gundogan will drop into midfield and makes fantastic runs forward. Again, follow your midfield runners, please, if you're not going to do anything. Grealish against White is a decent little battle, because I do think Grealish has kind of found his feet. But he's not really going to consistently take White on. He's going to play narrow. Rodri is obviously going to be a safety net, but him and Lewis are going to, assuming it's this, are going to have to operate in such a role. Win your battles, be slick on the transition, because they're going to leave gaps, man. You know how City are. They're going to have a lot of possession. They're probably going to venture forward. There's going to be spaces between their centre halves. Get at them. There's gaps there, but we have to believe. And as I said, I want Saka isolated. We did the last 2 games, him, Martinelli, Trossard, they're not isolated enough. I need my midfield to be brave as well. I need us to go back to basics in that regard. So for me, the lineup would probably be, obviously, Eddie picks himself. I hear all the talk about Martinelli playing through the middle and all these things, people. But for me, I don't think it's the game for that. Can we just stick to the basics for now, really? So I'm probably going to go Eddie. Not that there's much more. Bukayo Saka. I'm probably going to go with... I do think it's one way you wish 12 players could play. I just think Trossard has done well in the minutes he's got. He's experienced, and he's away from Arsenal versus City and what this game means or doesn't mean. He's joined the new club. You're not playing, so there's that added sort of thing with him. The midfield picks it against pressing. Granite, I need you today, tomorrow as well, because you've been off the boil. If Xhaka doesn't play good, we're not going to play good. The same with City. Again, just off topic, just assuming Rodri's here. That's the man. You stop Rodri. You don't quite stop City, but you stop them. Get at him. He's the guy. He's the glue. He's not going to be the most key player that people look at when you've got Haaland, Alvarez, Mahrez, Gundogan, so on and so forth. You stop Rodri, you're going to ask their centre-backs to play on the ball a lot more. Again, if you stop Rodri, again, these lot deal with it week in, week out, being pressed, having to play out from the back. But if Rodri's there receiving the ball, and let's just assume that their centre-backs are there, now City can go long, they can cut you. But if we sit off Rodri and we allow him to get the ball, obviously he could turn and he could find several targets, people. Assuming, again, our centre-back should be on. Let's make it look like people are actually on side. Haaland in a foot race is long. And you do know Haaland makes that devilish run where he kind of drops deep, acts like he's not involved and runs off people's shoulders. You've got Mahrez and several other talents dotted around the squad, people. Don't let Rodri turn and pick up out passes. Now, obviously, at times he's going to. Or if we stand on him, Rodri's going to go backwards. And then you're going to rely on these centre-halves to play out from the back a lot more. Maybe they pull it into channels. Maybe they go long. Stones isn't going to be there, but maybe Diaz carries it out from the back. Probably going to be Ake. He seems to be the one once given a license to do that. Can you take advantage of, maybe if he goes forward, he gets caught. Let's just assume Eddie wins it. He finds Saka and Bob could be your uncle. That's the key. You stop Rodri, we've stopped half, we've done half the job. But yeah, like I was saying, Eddie and Ketty up there for me. Odegaard's over there. Trossard picks himself for me. Saka's there. Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey's there. Obviously, a part of me wants to go Tomiyasu, so I'm actually going to go Tomiyasu because, you know, Benjamin White's not exactly offering an attacking outlet, so it doesn't really matter. That's one of the criticisms you could say of Tomiyasu, although you could probably, you know, completely disregarding Xhaka. Not that I think he'll do that, but Zinchenko and Partey, Thomas Partey could work. And obviously, you could put Tomiyasu over there. You've got one of your best defenders against Mahrez, you know, 1v1 demon. You saw what he did at left back against Salah a few weeks ago. And then you'd still have Benjamin White in there. But for me, I don't think it's one of them games there. So I'd go with Zinni. Ramsdale and the two centre-backs obviously pick themselves, people. You've got Ramsdale over there. You've got Gabriel over there, as you know already. But Saliba again, they're going to get at you, you know. They're going to get at you. What happened to Gabriel there? Must have deleted that by accident. Sorry, folks. But yeah, you've got Gabby over there. Granit, come back over here, definitely. It's probably what I'm going with, people. It's probably what I'm going with in the middle, well, all over the pitch. The midfield battle is obviously crucial. These three, they have to be in sync. Odegaard, don't get twisted. You're going to have to do your fair share of dropping deep, and you're going to have to do your fair share of organising the press. City are a great team. They're pressed week in, week out. They'll get out of that, man. So we're going to have to be at it. We're going to have to be at it, really and truly. We're unbeaten in our last 13 Premier League matches at the Emirates Stadium, drawing 2 and winning 11. Arteta's only PL loss in games refereed by Anthony Taylor was to Manchester City, where he's won 8, drawn 1 and lost 1. So we'll have to see. Arsenal have kept just 2 clean sheets in their last 15 Premier League home matches, and I don't think that is going to change tomorrow. But that's something. Defensively, we need to get back to basics, people. And again, when you look at where we've conceded, the last 3 goals Arsenal have conceded have been headers and have come from set pieces. Naturally, City, that's an angle for them to want to obviously get at. I was reading this by Pep Guardiola. A lot of this is irrelevant, people. It highlighted Bernardo Silva's role against Aston Villa, which is something Arteta will be mindful of. But there was where was it? There was something he said about Arsenal. Where is it? Said every team plays in a different way, so I have to adapt. For example, Arsenal make it man-to-man, so the way you attack and defend is completely different than against a team that defends their 18-yard box with 11 players. Adapting to that is one of the keys to understanding how we need to play. So he assumes that we're going to go 1v1, and I think there was a lot of positives to take from the FA Cup game in that regard, so maybe we could do that. They're coming for blood, people. Look at what they're on, people. Gundogan says City will travel to Arsenal aiming to reclaim top spot in the Premier League by claiming all 3 points. You wouldn't let someone come into your house and steal all your stuff or harm your children. So don't let them come to the Emirates and take 3 points, really and truly. If they take it over your dead body. Gundogan said, most probably it's going to be one of the toughest games we have played in recent years against a very strong Arsenal side with a very similar style of play with a great manager and a great team. I think we're ready to go on Wednesday. We'll travel to London to try to win the game and get the 3 points, even though we know it's going to be hard, but it's going to be a top game and we'll try to get the 3 points. We're playing against the best side in England, and so far this season it's going to be a top game. They're a side that we know very well. We expect football of the highest quality. We are all looking forward to it. So there you have it, really and truly. He went on to say and praise their reaction against Villa and so on and so forth. Rodri's on us as well. He said this is a cup final, basically. Arsenal clash is a final for us, people. So they're on this thing. It's a very important game for us. It's not a final, but we have to play it like it's a final because they're the best team in the league up to now. We have been great over the last month, even though sometimes we have not had the best results. I think the performance of the team against Aston Villa shows that we're going to fight, and we have to go there with great ambition after recovery because it will be a massive game for us. And we've had an extra day's preparation for them. They're also traveling, so hopefully these fine margins help us. If I'm honest, we don't think about these things. We don't think we are the favourites or not, despite what we have done. There are still 16 games to go. It's a lot. Yeah, we have the chance to go to Arsenal and be top of the table. I hope we can show the best performance of the team against the best opponents right now in the Premier League. They have shown up until now. I think we have to show our personality, our champions' personality from this moment until we go to the Emirates. Show we can fight against them and we can put on a good game. So let's see what's going on. I don't really care if Haaland's there or not there. We have to have the mentality that he is, people. But allegedly, Haaland has trained people. Bit upset that Mikel Arteta's press conference ain't been there. But you've got Haaland. Who cares? Because you just have to get it done, really and truly. We just have to get it done. We'll look at the transfer news in a second, people. But That's all I've got to say in relation to the game. What more have you lot got to say? Let me see you lot's thoughts. I don't mind who starts. Both give us different dimensions. I'm always optimistic about life, man. Hey, DG, don't you think Martinelli should start because of the space City will give us compared to all the low blocks we've been facing recently? Yeah, but Trossard can, again, Martinelli has my blessing to start. I just think Trossard's got more experience. He's got more gears to his game. I think he can do what Martinelli does, and he can be a bit less unpredictable. And I think, again, with Zinchenko doing the underlap, I think Trossard's better adapted to still being effective there. At times, Martinelli can be marked out, but Martinelli's youthful exuberance, obviously his willingness to take people on, the fact of the home crowd being there, and when you see players dribbling and trying, that's something to get behind. I'm all for it. I just think, I would just look at Trossard. I think Trossard and Tomiyasu are legit cases to have for Benjamin and Martinelli. In my opinion, it'd be an unchanged lineup, but I just thought Trossard should have scored against Brentford, and he's come off the bench and impacted the game really, where Martinelli wasn't poor, but did whatever, man. Zinni being dropped or not changes the dynamics a lot. Mahrez should be killing him, but if Zinni is dropped, you risk losing the midfield battle. Again, there you have it. I have a gut feeling Martinelli will have his rotunda this game. Better late than never. It is about fine margins. I would start Martinelli just because he'll have more space to exploit his pace. But then again, the flip side of that is, while I agree, and I kind of alluded to that, and I can't say Trossard can't be a super sub and come and affect the game because he has done that, but Martinelli appears quicker than him. Surely bring on Martinelli when, in the second half, when people are getting tired, when lactic acid, when people are starting to get cramped. Surely that's more of a devastating effect with Martinelli's pace and his tenacity and his willingness to be a Duracell battery and always take people on. I just think if Trossard starts, he has a good game, man. He had a decent one against City. Either way, everyone's got my blessing to be out there. Really and truly. Should be a good game regardless, or better yet, you hope it's a good game regardless. 25 likes. Can't lie, the views have been taking a beating in the last few weeks, people, but we keep going. I don't mind who starts. Both gives us different dimensions. Still say Tierney absolutely has to start Wednesday, and I would never bench Martinelli, but if he does, Martinelli has to strike. I don't know what that means. Pardon my man is DG. Big up DG and everyone. I'm happy my Arsenal jersey just arrived this weekend. One love. We need to start Tierney over Zinchenko and play Tomiyasu. We should bring Zinchenko for Xhaka. I mean, I'd all be for it. It is something. There should be a reality where Tomiyasu, Tierney, and Zinchenko in midfield could play, just like many other dynamics. I just don't think Arteta is going to do that against Man City, having got us to this period. Exactly. I was going to say that if Zinchenko starts, then I want Trossard to start. But if Arteta persists with Martinelli, then Tierney should come in. Pardon me. But then we kill our dynamics. Now, obviously, we've had a life before Zinchenko, but if you take Zinchenko out the team, you lose our quality in possession, really and truly. He's a left back, but he's a right centre mid in real time. If we're going to have to bring anything, we're going to have Xhaka on in full swing. We're going to need Odegaard, and we're going to need Zinchenko. Obviously, I'm not negating bringing Tierney and Tomiyasu because they're the trenches. Tierney's a traditional left back and things like that. It's not like we have an aerial target where Tierney's crosses will actually correlate to assists. And Tierney's form's been a bit rusty, where's his match fitness and stuff, but I wouldn't say it's negative, but indirectly it is negative. Tierney does fly forward. I wouldn't say a strength of his is going forward, and I wouldn't say the same with Tomiyasu. These catch-22, different players complement different things, and we would be a bit stronger defensively, but then you're going to ask a lot more of Thomas Partey, of Granit Xhaka, of Odegaard, of probably Martinelli and Saka to carry the ball a lot further, because literally a skill set of Tomiyasu's and Tierney's is not attacking. So it's going to make it harder for us to progress from our defense to the middle, obviously, ultimately to the area, and try and score a goal, people. Martinelli needs to start. He'll have space for him to do his thing. And with Tomiyasu instead of Ben, because Ben has looked really poor, not helping Saka at all. It's good problems for Mikel Arteta, really and truly. God knows who starts or what you really do. Make sure you're taking part in the voting. But what I would say that goes against Tierney, how rusty is he? Because this ain't really the game, really, for any of that. And did he start against City in the FA Cup? He looked a bit poor, really. But then again, I do think Tomiyasu left back. You could still play Benjamin. You don't really disrupt the right-hand side. You still got Benjamin, Saka, and Odegaard. I think Tomiyasu against Mahrez. I would have loved Tomiyasu to play against Brentford because the transitions, he's very dominant in the air. He's switched on defensively. Not that he's perfect, really. And you're gonna have to be that. I'm just happy I'm not Mikel Arteta because it's a difficult one, really. It really is a difficult one. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of thing. In my opinion, put him Tomiyasu left back, lock off that side of the pitch and let Martinelli run at Rico/Walker. City need to win. Walker probably going to be the third centre half. If the game is there for the taking late on, then go more attacking. One thing that angers me with the team is how we always put in high crosses. We don't have a target man and we hardly put low crosses in. We need to do that more as we scored using that tactic. I don't think we put in enough high crosses or crosses. I think our problem is we're probably a bit too precise. And I think you've seen it against Brentford and Everton. I'm not knocking it, but it's probably a bit too precise. I think when you look at the Liverpool game, when you look at Spurs home and away, where you look at Chelsea, where you look at Man United, there was a lot of space in that game. So we can always score goals. And there has been times we've broken down stubborn units, but consistently, no one is going to say when, teams rock up with a lot, not that City are going to, that's why we should score. When teams rock up and they're resolute, they're compact, they're rigid, 2 banks of 4, 11 men, 10 men behind the ball, 11 including the keeper, 11 men in their own half. We can't consistently cut that down. City are not going to do that. Do I think City are going to be a bit more switched on defensively? Of course, but there's going to be space because City, like us, are on attacking side. Naturally, there's going to be space. We play a high line. Regardless of how great you are defensively, at times you're going to get caught in foot races or you're going to get caught in the transition. If we aren't to win any other battle across that field, for me, it's that midfield. And winning doesn't necessarily mean we're in dominant possession, we're shutting up shop. It just means controlling situations, really, if I'm honest with you. I think Zinchenko should play in big open games and Tierney in low block games to create more space. Zinni in low block games don't make enough space and he's confusing. Tierney will complement Martinelli and Partey and Xhaka will be just fine without Zinchenko. We don't necessarily need an extra presence in our midfield, just need our guys to be on point. That's true, but also we need to play our most informed players. And when we've had a last wobble in our last 2 games or our last 3, does it make sense to change the dynamic too much? Does it not? It's not rocket science. You play your informed players, you play your best players and you get points. Zinchenko is one of our most informed players, even against Brentford. I'd hear you. You're not wrong. And God forbid if Zinchenko gets injured, we can't act like there's never been a life before Zinchenko. But you're asking a lot of Tomiyasu and Tierney. They're not the most match fluid at the moment. Again, our build-up play is going to change. In a team like City that they set their players up in certain positions just to isolate you and set up traps so you lose the ball. We're going to need that. Probably still going to have the same problems. Didn't Tierney play against City and he struggled, if I'm completely honest with you? Arsenal fans have a new toy in Trossard. That's all. I still think Martinelli should start. He gets up the field consistently. Defenders just back off him. I hear that. I agree. Tomiyasu should probably come in, whether to stop Mahrez or to compensate Zinni's defensive duties. A lot more of us switching to a back 3 in possession if we do get turned over. I'd strongly consider playing Fabio Vieira and try to blitz this City defense early on. Yeah, Fabio Vieira bench thing, bro. Big up to Vieira, but I mean, if Arteta does it, I'm all for it. But you got to hold bench, man. You're not ready right now. You're not ready. You're right, DG. The next window, we need to get different profiles of players. If I'm Mikel Arteta, I look at the squad and I really rely on plan B? We have too many similar players. I would say I'd like a striker that you could be a bit more, feed him a bit more service in the air. And especially games where we can't get out, you can knock it into their chest. They win fouls. They get our more technical players involved. Evidently, we need to address midfield. I think the last couple of games have shown different things. I think against Everton, we was overran. Could we have another physical kind of man or two in our squad to help us not get in them situations? Probably against Brentford or against Newcastle, we can't, even though VAR had a problem, I don't think we necessarily broke them down. Could we get a number 8 that can help, connect defense and attack really and keep Odegaard and Cole nearer to the opponent's box? If we beat City, we can be considered title contenders. I don't know if Arsenal are in any title challenge. I don't check the league table. I haven't checked since August. What I do know is in August, I wanted to win the FA Cup. I wanted to win the Europa League, and I wanted to qualify for the Champions League. Now we're out of the FA Cup, but 2 of those 3, as a minimum, are still on task. If you can do better, why not? Really. Regardless of who wins, loses this game, anyone, whether you're connected with Arsenal, City, be a fool to consider this a far gone conclusion. I do think, based on what you lot are saying, I was unaware Arsenal are in a title challenge. But what I would say, I do think there is a reality where you could, but if there's 6 points up for grabs against City, you need at least 3 to 4. Ideal world, evidently 6, but you need at least 3 to 4. The whole point of having depth is to rotate. I don't think Arteta is rotating enough right now. I'm not saying he isn't doing a great job. I hear that, but rotation for the sake of it isn't the issue. I mean, at a push, you could say, oh, you know what, Trossard, Tomiyasu, they could get in. What other rotations really and truly are needed? Yes, we've taken a wobble, and Arsenal are a bit in a crisis now because we haven't won in 3 games. But what rotations have really been needed? As much as I would like to see Tierney, Tomiyasu, everyone get a fair game played, the vast majority of the reason we're here is because players have been in form and they've given Arteta every reason to keep it like that. I'm not for rotation for the sake of rotation. Trossard, cool. Any little minutes you've got. Martinelli's not really been doing the business. That's a conversation. Benjamin White's been good this season. Had a bit of a wobble. Tomiyasu's been good whenever he's kind of played. That's a conversation. Xhaka's kind of, not that there's anyone else, Xhaka's kind of fallen off a bit. That's a conversation. I don't want anybody playing for the sake of it, really. You're right about the rotation thing, but rotation for what sake? If everyone wants to have a game, tell them to go sign up for a Sunday league team. We're trying to do things here. Take a draw, keep a cushion, win your bread and butter. Then the reverse game will be the showdown for the title. I can't lie. I think we have more of a chance of winning this than the one in May at the Etihad. DG, would you try Trossard in for Eddie in that false 9? In certain games, not against City, if I'm honest, really. As much as Eddie looks a bit knackered, Eddie's an out-and-out striker, innit? I think Eddie needs to play through the middle. Long-term, why not? Trossard as a false 9 could be an option. Martinelli could be an option up there. I don't think tomorrow is the game for that, really. I kind of think, yeah, there could be some rotation, but let's not flip the script. Let's just kind of keep people in their roles and what they're paid to do, really and truly. But, I've got faith in whoever goes out there. If he doesn't change the team, then fair enough, really. But as I keep saying, for me, I think this is a game in midfield, and I think if we can lock down Rodri, if Xhaka turns up today to go with all the other factors, today being Wednesday, tomorrow, we have half a chance. If we don't, we don't. But again, we need everyone. There's no point 3 players being good and the other one's taking a bit of a day off, man. Interesting talking point. Smash the like button, keep them going. Don't forget, on the topic of Arsenal, Manchester City, folks, we will be doing a watch along for that tomorrow, live from 6:30. Obviously, later today, people will be watching Paris Saint-Germain against Bayern Munich. Make sure you're there for that one. With that being said, should we look at what the tabloids are saying in relation to Arsenal, people? Arsenal beat Man City. What's the timestamp? Let's call that 48. Now, transfer news just won't go away, people. Let's just look at everything that's been said. In fact, first things first, former Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger has been speaking. He said, let's not miss this opportunity. I mean, we didn't win the league where Leicester did. That was the last time I kind of put my heart in a title challenge. Tell a lie. When Birmingham were acting like thugs and injured Eduardo. Winter World Cup has screwed us over. How? Forgive me if I'm wrong, but how? Really? Yeah, Gabby Jesus got the mad injury, but how? If anything, we've done all right. We've got out of there. We had, we were dealt quite a decent hand with that. And at the same time, bro, we knew the Winter World Cup was going to be a thing for a couple of years now. Maybe we should or shouldn't have done certain things in the summer. So we've only got ourselves to blame. But Arsene Wenger said, let's not miss this opportunity. Arsene Wenger warns his old club Arsenal they will not get a better shot at the title in future seasons. Same because, you'd imagine Man United, Chelsea, while we're building something great, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, they're all in transitions at different varying rates. They're all going to hit back. You'd imagine City are going to buy some blockbuster players. Specifically, what has the father said, man? You win it, then you can win it, and you don't care too much about the rest. You take the title and let the rest talk about it. I agree the conditions next season won't be as favourable as they are now. Exactly. So let's not miss this opportunity. Arsenal has 51 points after 21 games, which is remarkable. I feel the usual threats are all out of the race. The only threat is City, and even City is now not as dominant as they were last year or 2 years before. And I feel since the start of the season, City is more vulnerable defensively than ever before. You're not alone, Arsene Wenger, really. I think a lot of us believe that. He then spoke about why he hasn't returned to the Emirates. I wanted to take my family there, and I think it's the end of a chapter. I was happy to see the players in the dressing room after. It was mixed feelings. I sweat to make this stadium for 10 to 12 years, every penny. It was a good feeling to see where it is now with the crowd happy. The team is doing well. Part of your life is over forever, so a bit mixed feelings. I felt at the start it would take a good distance and not sit there straight away and be a wait for a guy who was there. Today is all different, and I thought it was the right moment. The timing was a fraction late, but it was good around Christmas as well, so it was nice. I like what I saw. I like what I felt in the dressing room. I feel the team spirit, great humility and hunger of young players is absolutely amazing. They are humble and hungry, and we're, it's testament to you, Arsene Wenger, so we appreciate you for that, people. Arsenal are keen on agreeing a new deal for William Saliba. I don't think that is Anything new? According to a report out of Spain, talking on a young French player in England. I'm not too sure, people. Whatever that means, people. The report claims the parties have now met to lay the foundations of a new deal, and the indications are there that the player will sign an extension until the summer of 2027. Saliba has been a key player for Arsenal since returning from loan. We've all known that, so there's nothing really new in that regards. This was 2 weeks ago, so I don't know what this means. Forget all of that, man. Ain't no one reading that by Ben Jacobs unless you got some information. Saka close to agreeing bumper Arsenal new deal after new talks. Arsenal are confident over securing a full agreement with Bukayo Saka over a new contract as soon as the club continue to try and keep hold of their best players. Anything new here? Saka's contract is a priority, and there's growing confidence of a breakthrough soon in talks following recent discussions. As you know, his contract expires in 2024, people, and teams are looking at it. So hopefully we get him signed along as well as Saliba to go with Martinelli. Not too sure you lot believe this, but once again, people, Arsenal reignite interest in Inter Milan forward Lautaro Martinez. I like him a lot, but needs to really, got a lovely mentality, lovely technical level, but it seems like he only really thrives as a support act. And really, when his best form kind of played when he was in a 2 with Lukaku, so I'm not too sure. But Arsenal have reportedly identified Inter Milan forward Lautaro Martinez as a potential summer transfer target, allegedly, which I'm sure not really the profile I'd like, but I'm sure many fans, in addition to Gabby Jesus and obviously Eddie Nketiah with one eye on Balogun, would be open to new reinforcements. And we did lack goals, and we don't really have a bench that's going to do things. He's got 13 goals in 5 appearances from 13 goals and 5 assists, from 28 appearances in the Serie A and Champions League. Apparently, the North Londoners are said to have held a long-term admiration for the Argentina international, despite the striker not always showcasing his best. Contracted until 2026. Inter may be prepared to cash in on his signature should they receive an offer in excess of 70 million. Allegedly, Arsenal are said to have made contact with Martinez's reps ahead of potentially making a formal bid during the summer. We've been linked with Victor Roog. Apparently, there's an interview on Arsenal Buzz with a super agent. Is there anything of significance? Victor Roog is a player that has great physique. Even though he's not tall, he's really fast, has good decision making, and he also knows how to finalize opportunities. Even if he's really young, he already plays as a starter in Atletico Paranaense's team, which the last year made the final in the Copa Libertadores and is doing really well in a cup, and they won it on Sunday. He has the qualities to play in every championship. He's linked with Barca. Even if he's young, he plays like an experienced player. He's ready for big clubs. When asked on who he compares him to, I don't like to compare players. He has a strong character, more like a South American player that has so much determination. It's like an Argentinian player for his personality, but has the foot and technique of a Brazilian. He's really fast, strong physically, and plays every ball as if it's his last, a bit like Gabby Jesus. Do you think Victor can be a good player for Arsenal? Arsenal sporting director is Edu Gaspar, who is also in the past the Corinthians sporting director where I knew him. He's really kind, respectful, clever, and has so much competence, like a few in the world of football. He's a Lord, I'm happy that he has returned to Arsenal as a member of the board, also because he's a product of Corinthians. Obviously, he pays so much attention to Brazilian players, but from what I know, Victor is really keen on Barcelona. So there you have it there, people. This has said Arsenal now willing to do whatever it takes to sign 52 million Chelsea target Victor Rogue. Arsenal want to sign Victor Rogue and are willing to do whatever it takes to sign him, people. Allegedly, he's got, he's done well at the under-20 South American Championship. He's done well in his early emergence in the first team currently. Despite being 17, he's got 7 goals in 36 and also has 3 assists, people. He can play out wide as well as a forward. And he's been heralded as the new Ronaldo and the next exciting talent to go with Endrick. He turns 18 later this month, so he could move in the summer. I mean, bring him if he's got all these qualities, but it doesn't seem like there's much credibility. Allegedly, journalist claims Arsenal in pole position for signing player. Player wants Premier League move amid interest from Euro giants. Arsenal looked at Martin Zubimendi in January after Mikel Arteta urged the leaders of the Premier League side to sign the Real Sociedad star. Reports coming out of Spain had stated that the midfielder wasn't keen to leave the La Liga side in January, but may change his stance in the summer. On January the 27th, Sport explained the 24-year-old has decided to bet on Arsenal if they activate his 60 million euro release clause after this season. Apart from the Gunners, Barcelona have also been credited with an interest in the player, as Xavi is an admirer. So yeah, it is what it is, really. And allegedly, Serrano said, I don't think so. Xavi needs another player instead of Busquets. The number one pick is Martin Zubimendi from Sociedad, but it's also difficult because Zubimendi wants to play in the Premier League. And for me, Arsenal are in pole position. I mean, we're not the only team in the Premier League, whether it's him, Declan Rice, Moses Caicedo, Ruben Neves. They're all going to be linked with a host of clubs, people. So we'll have to see how that develops. Arsenal reportedly leading the race for transfer of Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi, despite him also being tracked by Barcelona. That's according to this journalist, Serrano. I think this echoes the same thing. Isn't Busquets about to get a new deal? So who knows? But from what I see of Zubimendi, very much a cultured number 6, quite good in the air despite not appearing on TV to be the tallest. Very good in terms of progressive passes. Obviously, fellow Spaniard like Mikel Arteta. I think it makes sense. I'd actually, for me, you know, Declan Rice and Caicedo, they're going to cost a lot more money. It's a bit more exciting knowing that transfer records are gonna get broken. But I've said it in January. I'd prefer him, really, you know, just pay his fees and get it done. Really. Arsenal does not forget Martin Zubimendi. Arsenal's main summer objective is to strengthen the midfield to offer Mikel Arteta as many variants as possible. The coach wants to boost his rotation in that area, taking into account that there are several players who are not at the level that the club wants to reach and that Partey suffers many injuries. As you know, we tried to sign Caicedo. It did not bang. We have an interest in Declan Rice, people. And once again, they're talking about the interest we have in Martin Zubimendi. Arsenal feel that Martin Zubimendi is the ideal midfielder for what they're looking for. A young profile that has shown a natural fit within the position game to the point of being able to offer him more variance than even Partey himself when it comes to organising the team. He could be our Rodri. I'd pay the 60 million, 50 odd million pounds release clause if I'm honest with you. We all know PGMOL has said sorry, people, for the two dire Arsenal decisions. We've been done dirty in several games. Penalty for Jesus against Southampton, shirt pulling by Dan Burn at Newcastle at home, Man United, you know, Martinelli's goal being disallowed, and obviously Brentford. Now in these games, we haven't done well enough to win these games, isolated from these incidences. But I would like consistency for every club, definitely where it would have benefited us, where we might have picked up some more points. Company's not surprised to see Arsenal challenging well under Mikel Arteta. Don't really care what he has to say. Don't really believe the Balde links to Arsenal. Apparently, yesterday he said, I want to stay at Barcelona. I've been here since 7. Now he says he loves the Premier League, which you can say that. Let's see. And we've got to remember, he's in contract talks, been linked with us, Manchester United and Newcastle United. He said, well, nowadays, many teams, you watch Bayern and they have fullbacks that go up like crazy. In the Premier League, if you watch matches, all the fullbacks go up. Nowadays, I think there are many teams that play with a style where fullbacks go up a lot. That's what I like. I like it a lot. Okay, we don't think he said anything about the Premier League. That article's acting. Arsenal's transfer priority changes to leave Star worried about summer fate after Chelsea interest. What's been said here? This is in relation to Caicedo, people. Allegedly, he's no longer top of the list. It's Declan Rice was nothing for us, really. Apparently, the report claims Arsenal in particular may have other priorities in the summer by then. We should be able to react. By all God's grace, go after Zubimendi, Moses Caicedo, Declan Rice, 2 of the 3, all 3. But if you get 1 or none, as seen with João Felix and Mudryk, you need to be able to adapt, really. Caicedo, you will get a move. You've got interest from Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea. You will get a move. And if you don't, you're going to get a move elsewhere. And if you stay at Brighton and do what you're doing, your contract's running down. I'm sure he doesn't want that to be the case because he's getting peanuts in comparison to other players, people. According to our source, though, Caicedo could remain of interest to Arsenal and Chelsea, as well as another suitor in the shape of Liverpool. And they'll just have to keep performing, really and truly, if that means anything. Moses Caicedo worried about summer switch to Chelsea. Moses Caicedo is worried about a summer move to one of the big English clubs like Chelsea after a failed January move to Arsenal. Okay. As we know, he done the social media antics. We all know, he was immediately attracted to joining Chelsea. The move was difficult. They had offers rejected. Arsenal had 2 offers rejected. Brighton stood firm and asked Caicedo to stay away from training while the transfer window was going. Now he needs to keep it going again. Apparently, Caicedo remains worried that a move to Stamford Bridge might not materialise. The feeling is that these clubs have switched their targets or acquired alternatives. I mean, the club should have alternatives. I think they will circle back for you, but they've got other priorities, and who knows, there might be other priorities in other positions, really. You've got new agents. You'll get your move. Just calm down and do your job, man. Once again, worried people. His dream move to Arsenal is over after whispers he's heard. I mean, there's bare whispers in the transfer market and in football. Caicedo is worried a move to Chelsea in the summer is unlikely after a January move to Arsenal fell through. I mean, I think this is the end of Arsenal's story, people. But yeah, man, Sources have told Football Insider that Caicedo and his reps are worried a summer move to Arsenal or another one of his suitors may be more difficult than a winter window switch. The midfielder's agent is aware of the volume of top-rated midfielders that will be available in the summer window, and there are whispers that Caicedo could drop down the agenda for several clubs. The likes of Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham are top of the target list for multiple elite clubs. Caicedo is still on the Blues' radar ahead of the summer, despite the 106 million capture of Enzo Fernandez. Just keep doing what you're doing. He's contracted until 2025. They're going to have to make a decision sooner or later on you. Apparently, the Atletico president gives Arsenal hope as Edu opens 40 million Victor Ruge talks. Specifically, what have you said? There's a race for Victor Ruge. Now, we got to remember, he just wants to sell to the highest bidder. We can't afford to pay what the Europeans pay. We've already received calls and offers, but they didn't reach our number. The sale is still a long way off, people. So I have to see. Scolari, the former Brazil gaffer, said Victor will probably be sold. He's 17 and has learned a lot on the pitch, but he's playing in the Campeonato Brasileiro and I can't say that, and the Copa Libertadores since he was 16. Done a video on him. Check it out, people. A few months ago, he's a 17-year-old boy with the brain and experience of a 24 to 25-year-old. He's ready. When a club comes up with enough money, I think we'll sell. He's got 36 appearances, people, to his name. He turns 18 later this month, and there's Arsenal, Newcastle, PSG, Chelsea, Barcelona, the front runners, all in for him. Allegedly, people. What's all of this? Apparently, well, this is in relation to Balogun. Balogun has increased his value at the Emirates, as you'd expect. He's been doing well on loan, and he's 20 years of age. You don't necessarily know he's going to get opportunities or not with Jesus and Nketiah there. It makes sense. Marseille, AC Milan, Villarreal have all been credited with an interest. Specifically, Dean Jones has said, yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's scope there. I think one thing for Arsenal, it certainly increased his value and increased interest in the player. So I think everyone's a winner here. Yeah, either he progresses at Arsenal, he's sold on, and we keep it moving, people, really. So I'm all for that. What's been said here, people? William Saliba closing in on a contract extension with Arsenal, as we've seen already. Gunners won't spend more than 100 million on Declan Rice, as even 100 million shouldn't really be there. Reece Nelson has interest from 2 unnamed Premier League clubs. A report yesterday, check that video out, people, and check out, well, when this is cut up on the replay, I'm sure you lot on YouTube will see the banners popping up, so make sure you're hitting that, and so you can go over that. West Ham have been credited with an interest. I'd give Reece Nelson a new deal if he's not going to make it here, because I just think we're letting money go through the door, really. Arsenal haven't made the decision on Balogun yet, allegedly. Arsenal face competition from Newcastle for Milinkovic-Savic. We're among the clubs still monitoring Edson Alvarez of Ajax. You know, again, we're keeping tabs on Victor Ruge. AC Milan are looking at Balogun. Musa Diaby allegedly could be for sale by Bayern Leverkusen. We've inquired about Ansu Fati. Barcelona have joined the race with Dortmund and Arsenal for Ivan Fresnadar from Real Valladolid. We're looking at signing Locatelli in the summer. We're the favourites to sign Sergi Milinkovic-Savic. I've seen the words favourites next to Milinkovic-Savic, Mitoma, and Telemans, just like João Felix and Mudryk. Until people are holding shirts and scarves, anything is up for debate. Smash the like button. Allegedly, we're keeping tabs on Vlahovic. Once again, favourites for Mitoma. We're targeting Sociedad, Giro, Breis, Mendes, and obviously Zubamendi. We've joined the race for Ansu Fati. Once again, overwhelming favourites for Yuri Telemans, people. So I don't know what you lot believe, but that's what the reports are saying. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. Let me know your thoughts on such, folks. And don't forget to smash the like button and check out the rest of the news, views, and gossip videos. Should we spin the block and see what else has come out? Why hasn't Mikel Arteta's press conference come out yet, man? Hey. Lee Mason. Hasn't that happened already? Apparently, Lee Mason will not be on VAR duty this weekend after his error in the Premier League, in the Gunners Premier League clash with Brentford last Sunday. Okay. And then what's going to happen? What's going to happen the next day when he's eventually brought back? Because again, you hear he didn't draw the lines. If he didn't draw the lines or listen to what VAR asked of him, then whatever practices you're teaching these referees for when things occur, he's not listening to the competencies or the code of conduct or the training. So go put him on a training course. If I do something, there's sanctions. If you lot mess up at your jobs, you're either put on disciplinary meetings or codes of conduct, or you might lose your job. So I don't know, man. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear no sorries. It is what it is, man. We just have to move forward. But it is a mockery. I'm tired of PGMOL apologizing after blatant mistakes that the refs that run VAR that's causing teams to drop points in games they deserve to win. Tierney should start ahead of Zinchenko in the Aston Villa game on Saturday to provide an outlet for Martinelli down the right-hand flank. We are favourites for Matoma, Milinkovic, Savic and Telemans. I had to stop looking at paper talk for my own good. If I believed what the paper said, we'd have a starting 11 of Andre Onana, Ivan Fresnadar, Tapsoba, Saliba, Cucurella, Partey, Aouar, Buendia, Saka, Vlahovic and Martinelli. We haven't beat Man City since 2015 when Giroud and Walcott scored in the 2-1 win. So is that the game where Coquelin and Santi bossed it? So if we do what we need to do tomorrow, we'll get the win. Playing Tomiyasu and Trossard in this game, I hear that. Again, in relation to that game, people don't forget we're doing a watch along for that. Set your reminders on such. Smash the like button. Let's kick this YouTube algorithm into gear, people. Later today, we're watching Paris Saint-Germain against Bayern Munich. Again, in relation to other videos, make sure you're there for these ones. Again, you should see them popping up in your chats, people. So we're just going to have to be better. Shout out the YouTube members and whatnot, people. Once again, we should spend money on Osimhen. That guy will bring goals. Rate Martinez, but if he can't come with that World Cup form, brother was taking the P. Again, Lee Mason has been sacked from officiating in the Premier League after allowing Ivan Toney's goal to stand against Arsenal. Has he been sacked or has he just been removed this weekend? If he's been sacked, good. Deserve that, man. Hope you never get a role in this thing again. But I don't quite think that's the case. So I have to see exactly what's being said. Mikel Arteta has still not done his press conference at this moment in time. Shout out Senderos. Happy belated birthday to you. Obviously, it's Tyrese John Jules' birthday. Happy birthday to our fellow, another one of our Arsenal strikers who's currently nursing an injury out on loan. Pardon me, it don't appear that there's anything, people. Any talking points, feel no sort of way about getting them in, people. Let me see what social media is saying in relation to stuff. Doesn't appear like there's anything there in that regard. Would love to see Smith Rowe fit to play. I can't see it. But for what it's worth with Lee Mason, let's go over this for you guys, people. Lee Mason. As you can see here, let's pause this. Lee Mason dropped from weekend's fixtures after Arsenal VAR controversy. John Brook returns from Brighton role as Gunner's fourth official. So that makes sense. You're rewarding guys with nonsense. Apparently, people, VAR assistant Lee Mason will not officiate over any Premier League games this weekend following his error during Arsenal's draw against Brentford. So, yeah, they'll let the dust settle and he'll be back. Mason forgot to properly check an offside call in the build-up to Brentford's equaliser, which was scored by Ivan Toney. The error prompted Arsenal to drop 2 points in the title race, and, Howard Webber's contacted the club to apologise. Apologise doesn't do anything. Apologies don't do anything, people. Mason, who only works as a VAR official, having retired as an on-field official in 2021, will now not oversee any Premier League games this weekend. Webb called an emergency meeting on Tuesday as Mason's error at the weekend was not the only mistake. As you know, John Brooks incorrectly denied Brighton a goal during their 1-1 draw against Palace. Now, you look at Arsenal in the title challenge race, allegedly, or just aspiring for Champions League football. Brighton are aspiring for European football. These things have ramifications. And again, he drew, this is what are you lot teaching these guys in trainings? One guy is not drawing the offside lines, and next guy is drawing it on the wrong player. What is going on? And not only them, as much as it's a one-man thing, are they not in a room with other people? Has someone not said you're not supposed to do that? What has gone on here? Brooks actually stood down from his duties of the Merseyside derby, people. And he will be back in action this weekend as he's been made the fourth official for Arsenal's trip to Aston Villa. And even that, there's going to be nerves now. Even if he feels it's the wrong or right decision, is he going to bottle it? I don't know. Referees are so protected with their incompetencies, man. These refs seem to have a close-knit community, which seems to be untouchable. It is. The Premier League don't want it to change because there's talking points. Leao Osimhen at striker this summer alongside Jesus. Osimhen's more of an out-and-out striker. Leao can play there, but he looks best off the left. So I'd be inclined to say Osimhen. If you're getting anyone from Napoli, I'd like the Georgian lad, but that's a myth, man. Absolute myth. So we'll have to see how these things develop, people, really and truly. But with it being an hour and 9 minutes, as I said, people, I appreciate you lot being tuned in and all those sort of things. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Later today, we're watching Paris Saint-Germain against Bayern Munich, so make sure you're there for that one. Tomorrow is the big one because it's Arsenal versus City. I'll be live from 6:30. I appreciate all your talking points, all your questions, everything you lot do, your consistent support. Make sure you're subscribed, you've hit the like button, you comment at the end of the video as well as now so we can boost these YouTube algorithms and keep kicking over 50,000 subs, people. We've taken a bit of a dip, but we'll get there. There's high and low periods in this thing. Again, you lot stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you lot later today, man.
there's always just that active when defenders have been given like. There's always just that active when defenders have been given like.